Hi everybody, welcome to Nifty Profits YouTube channel. We are on value investment series. We have already done two presentations with CA Vishwanath Pichumani, who is very keen on value investing and is excellent with fundamental analysis. He has given us two presentations in the last 2 weeks, and we are now on to the third week. As you are, I am also curious to know what he has to present, what he is presenting to us in this third episode of Value Investing series. Over to CA Vishwanath Pichumani, the man with money in his name.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to the third episode of the Value Investing series. Today, I am going to talk about what is value investing. Let me share my screen now. Friends, let us catch up on what we discussed in episodes 1 and 2 so far. In the first episode, we discussed that if you want to achieve your financial goals, you need to do investment, and investment in stocks is the best method to achieve your financial goals, because investment in stocks can unleash the power of compounding, and investment in stocks gives us the best inflation adjusted returns. However, such investment should be done through a process of value investing to yield superior returns. There is a lot of confusion about what is speculation and what is investment. And in the second episode, we had laid down certain definitions which have been given by great thinkers in the field of value investment, like Benjamin Graham, Seth Klarman, Warren Buffett, to understand what is speculation and what is investment. And we had discussed that anything where the horizon is short term, like up to a year, and which is dependent upon the vagaries of the share market, is speculation. And anything where the time horizon is more than 1 year, preferably 3 to 5 years, and which has been done through a process of careful study, research, and other fundamental analysis, is called value investment or investment. Now let us proceed to today's episode. In today's episode, we are diving into the definition of value investing. So we have been talking value investing, but what exactly is value investing? Now, if you ask a layman what is value investing, he will say buying cheap stocks. Now, suppose you look at the index today and you are seeing shares which are quoting at 52-week lows. So if you buy those stocks, does it mean value investing? Friends, it's a big no. Let's hear what the guru of value investing, Charlie Munger, who is also a partner with Warren Buffett in their famous establishment called Berkshire Hathaway, has to say about value investing. He simply says value investing is basically looking for a mispriced gamble. Yes, he used the word gamble. And he says that it is primarily intelligent investing, acquiring more than what is being paid for. Benjamin Graham, whom we discussed in episode 2, and who is the father of value investing, and whose Bible, the famous book, The Intelligent Investor and Security Analysis, in his book he has said that value investing is an investment operation done after thorough analysis and promises safety of principal and a satisfactory return. Now he has used that famous word margin of safety, which we will discuss in the subsequent episodes. Warren Buffett himself, in his 1992 letter to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders, has said that value investing is a process of picking up bargain stocks. So it's a mispriced gamble, it is an intelligent investment, picking up bargain stocks. This is what the gurus of value investing have to say about what is value investing. Well, having heard all this, one thing is very clear, that value investing is not an easy affair. The person who wants to go on this journey of value investing has to have a lot of patience. He must be disciplined. He must mind his behavior. He must know when to go against the crowd. And this sentence is very important. You must read a lot. And what you must read? You must read annual reports of companies, investing books, like we talked about, The Intelligent Investor, Security Analysis. These are must-read books for a person who wants to be a value investor. Now, Charlie Munger had talked about mispriced gamble. He said you should buy a stock which has a value more than what you have paid for. Friends, let me give you an example of a value mismatch, which Charlie Munger said as mispriced gamble. I've just taken a sample of 4 shares. What was their price when the pandemic was announced and the stock markets the world over had tanked. And what is the price today? Now, if you are a value investor and if you're invested in Infosys, which had a market price of 585 rupees, today you would have enjoyed a gain of nearly double. If you had invested in Asian Paints on the day when the pandemic struck, today your gain would be around 90%. Similarly, if you had invested in HDFC Bank, you would have enjoyed a gain of 90%. And if you had invested in Housing and Development Finance Corporation, the famous mortgage lender, you would have enjoyed a gain of 81%. And we are talking about a period of just 18 months. So every time there are opportunities in the market, a value investor is one who is constantly looking for a value mismatch. And this is an example of what you would have enjoyed if you had picked up 4 stocks. Many stocks had gone up, but I'm just pointing out 4 famous stocks and how much gain they have enjoyed since the time the pandemic was on. So we have talked about what exactly is value investing, and we have given an example of how a value investor looked at things when the pandemic struck and what gain you would have enjoyed today. So what are the attributes of a good value investor? The value investor is always focusing on intrinsic value. This is what Charlie Munger meant by mispriced gamble. He will have his own method of calculating the value of the company. And if he finds that that value is more than what the market is offering, he will buy the share. This is what is called intrinsic value. There are various methods to arrive at intrinsic value. We will cover them in a separate presentation. He will have a clearly defined sense of where he will prospect for ideas. Now, what do I mean by that? A value investor is somebody who knows very clearly what are his boundaries, and he will only look for good stocks within that boundary. For example, if I had a career in banking, it's a no-brainer that I know the banking business well. So if I want to start the journey of value investing, I need to first look at stocks in the banking sector. So this could be an indicator for you how to begin the journey of value investing. Once you have clearly identified some shares, you should conduct your own in-depth research. Not only that, you should also analyze what is happening in the larger economy. What are the micro factors? What are the macro factors affecting the economy and also the business of the company? And you should also know that economy is always having cycles. So each business will have its own cycle. So this fact also should be kept in mind when we analyze a company and look to make value investment. A value investor, what are the other attributes of value investor? The other attributes of value investor are he will only act when he is able to draw reasonable conclusions at variation to complete conventional wisdom. He will conduct his analysis with a multi-time year horizon. He will not look at investing for 1 year. Minimum investment horizon he is looking at is at least 3 to 5 years. And he knows that great investment ideas are rare. So that is why the focus on conducting your own in-depth proprietary analysis and research. And he also knows that if he wants to beat the market, you need to assemble a portfolio which is quite different to the market. He needs to have a diversified portfolio and he need not necessarily follow the market. With that preamble in mind, if he does value investment, definitely he can assemble a portfolio which can give better return than what the market is giving. A value investor, more importantly, will avoid permanent losses. He will only focus on absolute returns. And for him, investing in the stock market is like a marathon race. And he'll be the first to admit his mistake and seek to learn from them. Now, these are the very wise words of a very famous value investor, Whitney Tilson. Another famous value investor, Howard Marks, has his take on what makes a good value investor. He says value investing is not so much about doing smart things as it is about not doing dumb things. You must learn to avoid mistakes. You must resist market fads. And you must focus on allocating capital into ideas that are highly likely to produce satisfactory return and that offer a margin of safety against permanent capital loss. This is echoing the words of Seth Klarman, which we read in the second episode, which is an extract from his famous book, Margin of Safety. Yes, Satyamurthy, you wanted to say something?
See, I want to emphasize on this. You must resist market fads. This is something very important, right? Because if you want to differentiate yourself as a value investor, you need to also, like it's clearly said, you need to move against the current. Because usually there is a herd mentality, right? The sudden euphoria will be there on some themes or some aspect, and everybody will be going and putting money. That is when people tend to make mistakes and back wrong shares or because something else in that sector is very high priced, they may go and buy something dud also, which is also run actually, and they will go and back something which is a bad company in that sector. It's in a good sector, but maybe a bad company, badly managed, and all, thinking that that will also go up. That becomes actually a gamble. So don't just go by the market fad, but go by conviction and look at the value. That is very beautifully said by Howard Marks. I thought because I have personally made these mistakes, maybe even you would have made in the early days such mistakes of backing things. This running today, so let me also run with that. Like that, a lot of the people have done and then later on suffered.
So as we understood so far, value investing is not easy to practice because you require constant diligence and the effort to cultivate the discipline to avoid unproductive decisions and also to develop the emotional and mental stability. But if you can do this, you have a good long run. Your ability to focus on the long term only comes from experience. Again, wise words from Howard Marks. So friends, in the last few slides, we have tried to get a sense of what are the attributes, emotional, mental attributes required to be a value investor. We have heard what Warren Buffett had to say. We had heard what Howard Marks has to say. We also heard what Whitney Tilson had to say. And also Seth Klarman, what he had to say, that if you really want to be a good value investor, it requires a great deal of hard work, strict discipline, and a very horizon. But it's very difficult to practice. In fact, very few are willing and are able to devote sufficient time and effort to become value investors, and only a fraction of those have the proper mindset to succeed. So friends, this is a site called www.screener.in. There are many screeners, but I have chosen this screener, and the name of the company is Asian Paints. You can see here the market cap is about 300,000 crores, so it's a very large cap. This is a screener for Asian Paints, one of the companies which we had talked about in our presentation. This screener, this information which is presented says that Asian Paints has a market cap of 300,000. This is the current price, stock, market price to earnings per share, what is the book value, dividend yield. All this we will cover in a subsequent presentation. I want to focus in this episode on this slide. Now, if you see here, this is a graph of how the market price of Asian Paints has moved over a period of 1 year. Now let's see how it has moved over a period of 15 years. Now suppose I had invested in Asian Paints in 2006. At that time, one share of Asian Paint would have costed me 40 rupees. That time, 82,000 shares were being dealt with. That's another information for your knowledge. Now, if I had held for 2 years, that 40 rupees would have gone up by roughly 2.5 times. Now, what will be the conventional wisdom? The normal investor will think, oh, I invested at 40 rupees. In 2 years, it has gone up by 2 times. So let me encash and come out. Many people would have made the mistake and sold Asian Paints at 100 rupees and come out. Now, suppose somebody by his proprietary research understood that Asian Paints is a good share and he invested in January 2008 at 100 rupees. Now, after 1 year, he might think he made a mistake. But if he's a value investor and he decides to be patient because he understands that this business is inherently good, then he will start seeing that again after 2 years, his share has doubled. He bought it at 100 rupees, now it's 200 rupees. Now, this is where the patience comes in. If he's a really good value investor, he will resist the temptation of selling. Speculators would sell and come out. Now, if this value investor, if he had entered in 200 rupees, see, another important thing is, if the company, the intrinsic value is good, price is not material. Any price you can enter as long as the intrinsic value which you calculate is more than the market price, market value. So if a person had invested in Asian Paints in 2010 at 200 rupees after doing his proprietary research and continues to hold the share till today, what would have happened? A 200 rupee share in a period of 10 years only has gone up to 3,000 rupees, which we are talking about almost 15 times. Can you imagine which sort of investment will give you such returns? It is only investment in stock market, and that also good shares will give you such a return. If you are stayed invested in Asian Paints just for 10 years, if you are invested a lakh, for example, today that lakh would be worth 15 lakhs. This is what value investing is all about. You have to identify a good share, be convinced about the business, and stick to the company till it remains high value. And this is the return you will get. There was another interesting story which was doing the rounds of in the internet. One caller had called up a news channel and said that his grandfather has left in 20,000 shares of MRF which he had bought in 1990. So what he should do? Now let's assume that he had bought investments worth 20,000 rupees in 1990. At that time, I think MRF was 320 rupees. So today,
can you show the chart of MRF if you don't mind? You can type MRF and show the chart so people can see. So maximum period, the chart can come.
Yeah. So again, MRF, if you look at 15 years, it was 2,500 in 2005. And today it is 76,000. We are talking about
36
around
times.
40 times.
Nearly
36 times.
In fact, if you see the high, it is around 90,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So it has moved almost 45 times from there. 45 times.
Exactly.
And this guy,
So
can you tell the story again? Rupees 20,000 somebody had bought. In which year? I think 1990 they bought, I think.
In 1990 he had bought, yeah.
So even before this time, even before this 2,000 rupees. So he would have bought around 300 rupees.
Now in the news item, it was saying that he had bought 20,000 shares, because that's why they are saying that it is now worth about 100 and some odd crores.
Okay, 20,000
shares.
So
this is what value investing will give you if you can identify the right shares and invest at the right time.
So the 20,000 shares that person bought for maybe about
64 lakhs. It was 320 rupees at that time. Yeah.
64 lakhs.
If you had invested 65 lakhs in 1990 in MRF, assuming you bought 20,000 shares at the prevailing market price of 320, today at this price, his investment will be worth roughly about 190 crores.
Oh my God. My God.
This is the return we are talking.
My God. Fortune has been made.
Exactly. So the lesson is, if instead of diversifying your investment in various avenues, like you have fixed deposits, real estate, insurance, gold, and all that, if you just concentrate your investment in a few select stocks, I believe even now, if you identify such stocks and stay invested for 15 years, you might be one of the lucky few who might enjoy such astronomical returns.
I would like to say something here. If you can show the same chart, can you show the same chart again?
Can you see it?
Yeah. See, some people may be thinking that I want to invest in MRF, but it is too high price now, 80,000 rupees. Can I buy now? But this question can come, like you rightly pointed out in Asian Paints. You could have got the same question when MRF was in 2016, was quoting around 45,000 rupees. You could have got the same question. But from 45,000, it has moved to 90,000, right? So for excellent companies that consistently perform and exceed expectations, the price is not a criteria, because they are consistent performers and they are value multipliers, basically. So if you look at any such stock, for example, Bajaj Finance, if you look at it, today it is quoting at 7,000 rupees. Some people may be thinking that, can I buy it at 7,000? It is too high priced. There is nothing called high priced in the stock market. As long as the company is a value buy, it is not a high priced stock at all at any time. Am I right, Vishwanath?
Yes.
Any time is a good time to enter. In fact, I remember one more small anecdote, if I can share. I remember Nestle, one research house to whom I had subscribed for, recommended Nestle to be purchased, recommended Nestle when it was quoting around 4,500 rupees. When it was quoting around 4,500 rupees, they said you can, they recommended this stock.
That was in 2014.
Yeah, even before, little before you go, this 5,000 rupees. If you go slightly before, around January 12 or something like that, it was quoting around 4,000 rupees, I think so. Right? So when it was quoting at that price, they said it is a good buy for a long term, but I think the price is high. So you buy it when it comes down to 2,000. They identified a right stock, but they felt we have to time that entry, which is wrong, because the Nestle is something which has intruded in everybody's life. We take their chocolates, we drink their, whatever beverages they make,
Maggi
noodles, so many things are there. These stocks, actually, we should add when there is a negative news on these stocks. We should add, but we can enter these stocks at any time. What happened was, They recommended at 4,000 and they said buy it at 2,000 when it comes down. It is high price now and it never came to that price. Today, where it is quoting 20,000 rupees.
20,000.
So, opportunity to multiply the investment by 5 times. Okay. Nobody could have predicted that it will go to 20,000. Value investing means that you buy right and sit tight and hold on to it because you have bought it on certain convictions. Unless the convictions are defeated, stay invested, right? A big embezzlement taken place, the trust on the management has gone, the company's products are banned totally. These kind of things happen only, we should get out of the stock. Otherwise, we should stay invested in the stock. If you back 10 good stocks and 2 may fail your expectation over a long time, even 5 may fail your expectations a long time, but the remaining 5 that multiply manifold times will make you make your investment worth the while. Am I right, Vishwanath?
Yes, well said. Yeah.
So, does that conclude our presentation for today?
Yeah, I think, So with this, we conclude our presentation on value investment. We have basically tried to understand what makes a good value investor, what are the attributes required, and how to be constantly looking out for mispriced gambles, and what are the ways to look out for them. In the subsequent episodes, we will also further delve on what are the attributes required and also how to prospect for stock ideas. Over to you, Satyamurthy.
Thank you very much, Vishwanath. As usual, it is an excellent presentation giving valuable insight into value investing. And we learned about why investing in stock market is a better option than savings. That was in the first episode. And then you tried to remove the taboo that generally people attribute the moment you say, I am investing in stocks, as if you are a gambler and you are speculating. That misconception you disproved or you tried to dispel through your presentation in the second episode. And now in the third episode, we have gone little higher and have seen what is value investing, how buy right and sit tight helps you over a long period of time. In fact, this is a very, very useful lesson for youngsters, especially who are in the 20s and 30s. They are into the early career of theirs. If they start now, they can actually reap the benefits of manifold returns that can come from value investment stocks in the future. So start early, because I am at the age of 56. Of course, Warren Buffett started at 56 and multiplied his returns even at the age of 56. So there is no time limit for becoming a value investor. But then if you start earlier than where we may start, or if you start later in your stage, you will reap the benefit of your value investment when you are in the age bracket like us. You would have become a multi-millionaire in your life. So keep following this channel, keep coming back. Let's learn more from Vishwanath Pichumani, the man with money in his name. Thank you very much for being with us. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And do not miss to watch the previous episodes if you are joining in the third episode only. Thank you very much, Vishwanath. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Satyamurthy.